Transportation is one of the keys to America's amazing growth and prosperity. The flow of raw materials to factories and of products to markets, the movement of people, mark the history of our great national development. Reaching from the industrial might of Chicago to the Gulf of Mexico, moving westward across the plains of Missouri and Kansas, the Santa Fe Railway spans the great Southwest before meeting the waters of the Pacific. Moving raw materials from the Gulf ports to the manufacturing plants of the East. Hauling the great wheat harvests from the plains to population centers of both East and West. A great transportation system at work, moving goods and people with skill and efficiency, with progress matching the scientific achievements of a growing America. A transportation service always on the alert to improve, to change, to serve better the needs of our expanding economy. But how does a railroad change? Here is the story of one such change.
In our cities, in our smaller towns, on our farms, enjoying the comforts and conveniences of a standard of living regarded by the rest of the world as the miracle of the modern age.
Well, frankly, I don't see anything so miraculous about it. Okay, so we're the richest and the best off nation on earth. But no wonder, look what we had to start with. Millions of acres of rich farmland, tremendous forest areas, and a wealth you couldn't even start to calculate in coal, iron, ore, and other minerals, to say nothing of all the other natural advantages. All of it right here for our taking. How could we miss?
The miracle of America developed. Initiative, freedom, competition, and finally, as the young nation began to expand, one more necessary ingredient, transportation. For the miracle of America could never have been worked without the abundant, low-cost transportation which tied the nation together, which has made it possible to carry the resources of the whole continent to the places where they can be used to the best advantage. And so, America as we have it today is a product of its natural resources and of the energies of its people, working in the spirit of freedom and spurred on by the right to compete, all bound together by transportation.
That was a pretty wonderful story, wasn't it, Dad?
Sure was, son. You know, I'm beginning to see what you mean about the real reason for America's high standard of living. It certainly did take a lot of incentive, plus freedom of opportunity and commercial competition.
That's right. And it took other things. Among them, the widespread development of transportation for the easy distribution of raw materials, finished products, and, of course, people themselves.
Oh, yes. Quite a machine. Quite a monster. Big boy, we called him. The last of the giants. I used to run one of these. Got something a lot better now, though. Diesels. No more smoke and steam. No more oil can. No more old-time watch and chain. No more Casey Jones stuff. No time for old-time railroading. We couldn't do today's kind of railroading with oil can technology. Let me put you on the inside track. How we run a railroad. How we can roll freight halfway across the country in half the time it took us 10 years ago. How in that period of time we've been able to bring railroad freight charges down, while the price of everything you eat and wear, live in, and ride in has gone up. How the new railroader uses space-age tools to do a down-to-earth job. Why railroads are so important to this country.
Here comes the Dome Liner, a hotel on wheels that laughs at mountain grades and eats the valleys up. Around 100 million travelers a year ride American trains. Proud Dome Liners have become synonymous with pleasant journeys. That sleek train opens a whole country to new eyes every trip. Enjoy dinner under glass as the miles whiz by. Coach patrons are pampered with plenty of room to stretch. However, for most lines, passenger carrying is not the major part of railroading. It's in freight hauling that railroads perform their greatest service for fast mass movement of the things he makes and the stuff he makes them from. Man has devised nothing as efficient as the flanged wheel rolling on a steel rail. From 3 million square miles of land, there comes to us a bounty of food and nearly every raw material. Ours is the richest natural resources endowment of any people, but it's all spread out. Every state mines, harvests, or makes something every other state needs. Carefree Las Vegas, for instance, imports nearly everything it uses, including poker chips. Still, carloads of raw materials and many finished products go from here. 211,000 miles of railroad really unite the states. They help make us the biggest nation of consumers with the world's highest living standard by smoothing out our economic geography.
Done. Those blows on the last spike had been a long time coming. Grass. A vast emptiness. 1,000 miles and more, waiting. From the broad Missouri River bottom, it stretches. 500 miles of high plains and blowing grasslands, reaching up to the unknown and frightening Great Stony Mountains. The unexplored wonders of the Yellowstone country. Rainforests, timber, and lush green valleys of the new Northwest. Waiting while the colonists eked out a foothold on the Atlantic shore. And work grinds to a halt almost at once. There is no money. There are no investors. Major Long's great American desert is still too much with them. Congress must act again. The land grant is doubled. On the battlefield, the North is finally victorious. Lee surrenders. Peace. The nation looks west. And another great national drama begins.
From Omaha we started, barely 1,000 men strong. By the time we were done, we were 10,000 strung out for a good 200 miles across Indian territory. The tie gangs went ahead putting down the ties, and we came behind laying down the rails, pushing the end of the track ahead of us. It was a real international enterprise. The rails come from Pittsburgh, the ties from Wisconsin, and the sweat from Ireland.